The man on stage was crying about a daughter he never had, and Sarah Mitchell believed every word. Lily was 17 when I lost her, Daniel Cross said, his voice breaking in precisely the right places. 17 years, 4 months, and 9 days old. She left a note on her desk. 3 pages. Single-spaced. Telling me everything she couldn't say out loud. Sarah's breath caught. Emma had been 17 years, 5 months. Her note had been 3 pages. Single-spaced. The last line, Cross continued, tears streaming down his face, said, "I'm sorry I couldn't be what you needed me to be." He paused, let the words settle. "And I have to live every day knowing I made my daughter feel like she wasn't enough." Sarah's hands gripped the armrests of her front row seat. Those were Emma's exact words. The exact last line of Emma's note that she'd read at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning that had shattered her entire world. Cross's eyes found hers across the stage lights and 200 watching faces. "I see you," he said, looking directly at her. "I see your pain. And I want you to know, you're not alone in this." Sarah nodded, tears flowing freely now, not caring who saw. Someone understood. Finally, someone understood. What Sarah didn't know, what she couldn't have known from her position in seat A3, front row center, was that 90 minutes earlier, Daniel Cross had been standing at the back of the ballroom watching attendees filter in. He'd scanned the front rows with the practiced eye of someone who'd done this 200 times before. Looking for specific tells. A woman in her 30s, professional but disheveled. Wedding ring she kept touching like a talisman. The slight flinch when the opening video said the word, daughter. The trembling that started in her hands and moved to her shoulders. The way she'd leaned forward in her seat, desperate to be closer, to be seen. He'd pulled out his phone and scrolled through the registration list until he found her. Sarah Mitchell. Checked her Facebook profile, still public in her grief. Found Emma's memorial page. Read the tribute posts. Studied the photos of the note that some well-meaning friend had posted, then quickly deleted. 3 pages. Single-spaced. Final line about not being enough. He'd smiled. She was perfect. Now, as the seminar ended and 200 people filed toward the exits, Sarah remained in her seat, unable to move. A woman in her 50s approached, wearing a badge that said, Senior Guide. "Sarah Mitchell?" the woman asked gently. Sarah looked up, startled that this stranger knew her name. "Daniel wanted me to find you. He saw something in you today. A readiness." The woman smiled with practiced warmth. "We're hosting a free intensive breakthrough weekend next month. Very small group. By invitation only. Daniel specifically requested that we offer you a spot." Sarah's heart hammered. He'd seen her. He'd understood. And he wanted to help. "Yes," she said, not even asking about details. "Yes, I'll be there." The woman handed her an elegant black envelope. "We'll send you the information. This is going to change your life, Sarah. I can feel it." Sarah clutched the envelope as the woman walked away. Around her, the ballroom was emptying. But she sat in her front row seat, holding an invitation that felt like a lifeline, completely unaware that she'd just been selected. Not for healing. For harvest. Some predators don't hide in shadows. They stand in spotlights, choosing victims from the front row. And Sarah Mitchell, grief counselor, trained professional, expert in human behavior, had just become prey to the most dangerous kind of hunter, the one who knows exactly what broken looks like, and exactly how to make it worse. Sarah Mitchell had spent 12 years teaching people how to process grief. She had a master's degree in counseling psychology, certifications in trauma therapy, and a private practice with a waiting list 3 months long. She knew the stages, the frameworks, the evidence-based interventions. None of it had saved Emma. 6 months ago, on a Tuesday morning that had started like any other, Sarah had found her 17-year-old daughter in her bedroom with an empty pill bottle and 3 pages of single-spaced explanation for why living had become unbearable. The note had been methodical, apologetic, devastating. Emma had thanked them for trying. She'd listed everything she was grateful for. And she'd ended with the line that Sarah replayed every night in the dark, "I'm sorry I couldn't be what you needed me to be." The guilt was a physical thing, living in Sarah's chest like a second heartbeat. She was a grief counselor. She was trained to see the signs. How had she missed her own daughter unraveling? Her marriage was unraveling too. Marcus grieved in silence, retreating into 12-hour workdays and careful politeness. Sarah grieved in chaos, crying during sessions with clients, forgetting appointments, lying awake at 3 a.m. asking questions that had no answers. They moved around each other like strangers in their own home, both drowning, neither able to reach for the other. Her practice was suffering. How could she sit across from bereaved parents and offer them hope when she had none herself? How could she guide them through loss when she was lost? "You should try this seminar," her friend Jennifer had said over coffee, sliding a glossy brochure across the table. "Awaken your truth. I went last year after my divorce. It's not therapy, it's more like perspective shifting." Sarah had researched it that night. The website was professional, polished. Corporate sponsors included recognizable brands. Testimonials from doctors, lawyers, educators. The founder, Dr. Daniel Cross, had a PhD in psychology from Stanford, 2 best-selling books, and his own story of loss, a daughter who died young. The seminar promised breakthrough moments and radical transformation. It looked legitimate. More importantly, it looked like hope. Sarah paid $500 for a front-row seat. Being close meant being seen, she'd thought. Being seen meant being helped. The Grand Hyatt ballroom was filled with 200 people when Sarah arrived, all of them wearing the same expression she saw in her mirror every morning, exhausted, searching, desperate for something to make sense. She took her seat in the front row, A3, and waited. When Daniel Cross walked on stage, Sarah felt something shift in her chest. He was tall, mid-40s, with the kind of presence that filled a room. The MC's introduction was impressive: PhD from Stanford, 15 years of research, best-selling author of The Architecture of Loss. But what caught Sarah was simpler. When Cross smiled at the audience, his eyes held the particular sadness of someone who genuinely suffered. "I know why you're here," Cross began, his voice warm and direct. "You're here because someone you loved chose to leave. And you're here because you can't understand why." Sarah's breath caught. "My daughter Lily was 17 when I lost her," Cross continued, and something in Sarah's chest cracked open. "She left me a note. 3 pages, trying to explain the unexplainable. 3 pages. Just like Emma." Cross described finding Lily in the morning. The pills. The careful preparation. The apology in the note for not being enough. Sarah's hands began to shake. These were Emma's details. Emma's method. Emma's words. Cross's eyes found hers in the front row. "I see you," he said softly, and Sarah felt seen for the first time in 6 months. This wasn't coincidence, she thought, tears streaming down her face. This was fate. The intensive weekend was held at a retreat center 40 minutes outside the city, all exposed beams and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking forest. 20 people sat in a circle on meditation cushions while Daniel Cross moved between them with the fluid attention of someone conducting an orchestra. "Grief lives in the body," he said during the first session. "We're going to learn to release it." Sarah participated in the breathing exercises, the guided visualizations, the partnered sharing where she told a stranger named David about finding Emma and he held space for her tears without trying to fix anything. It felt good. It felt safe. On the second day, Cross pulled her aside during lunch break. "Sarah, would you be open to a private session? I think there's something we need to work through together." They sat in a small room with two chairs facing each other, close enough that their knees almost touched. Cross leaned forward, his eyes holding hers with an intensity that made her feel like the only person in the world. "Tell me about the morning you found her," he said gently. Sarah described it. The silence in the house. The locked bedroom door. Emma's body positioned carefully on her bed, hands folded, like she'd wanted to cause as little disruption as possible. Cross nodded. Lily did that too. The hands folded. Like she was trying to be considerate even in death. Sarah's throat tightened. Yes. Exactly that. And the note mentioned the school counselor, didn't it? How Emma had tried to talk to someone but felt dismissed. Sarah's breath stopped. How do you know that? Cross's eyes were soft with understanding. Because Lily wrote the same thing. About feeling invisible to the adults who were supposed to help. About trying 3 times and being told she was just stressed. Emma tried twice, Sarah whispered. The school counselor told her it was normal teenage anxiety. I know, Cross said. I know because I lived it. Because Lily showed me the same things Emma showed you. The same patterns. The same signs we missed. Sarah felt something break open in her chest. This man understood in a way Marcus couldn't, in a way her therapist friends couldn't. He'd lived this exact nightmare. You're not alone in this anymore, Cross said, taking her hands. That's what I want you to understand. That evening, Cross introduced her to 3 other parents in the program. Michael, who'd lost his son 2 years ago. Patricia, whose daughter had died 18 months prior. Robert, 3 years out. They all spoke about Cross with reverence bordering on worship. He saved my life, Patricia said simply. I was planning to follow my daughter. Daniel gave me a reason to stay. The foundations course changed everything for me, Michael added. It's expensive, but worth every penny. Cross approached Sarah before dinner. I'd like to invite you to continue this work. The foundations course is 8 weeks, intensive. It's $2,000, but it's where the real breakthrough happens. Sarah hesitated. $2,000. Marcus would object. They'd been fighting about money, about everything. I need to talk to my husband, she said. Something flickered across Cross's face. Sarah, those who truly love us support our healing. Those who don't. He paused. Maybe they're part of the problem. Maybe their resistance is about their own fear, not your growth. The words landed like truth. Marcus hadn't been supporting her. He'd been avoiding her, pulling away, leaving her to drown alone. You deserve to heal, Cross said. Don't let someone else's limitations become your prison. That night, Sarah logged into their joint checking account on her phone. She stared at the payment screen for 5 full minutes, Marcus's voice in her head warning her about scams, about being careful. But Marcus hadn't held her while she cried. Marcus hadn't understood Emma's death the way Daniel Cross did. Sarah entered the credit card information and clicked confirm. The first real crack in her marriage opened with a soft electronic chime and a confirmation email that promised transformation. She told herself it was an investment in healing. She didn't realize she'd just made the down payment on her own destruction. The alarm went off at 5:45 a.m., 15 minutes before the daily intention call. Sarah had learned to wake before it rang. Being late to Daniel's morning session felt like failing before the day even started. Good morning, beautiful souls, Cross's voice filled her ear through the phone at exactly 6 a.m. Today we set our intention to remain conscious while the unconscious world tries to pull us back into old patterns. Sarah listened in the dark of her bedroom while Marcus slept 3 feet away, his back to her. She whispered her affirmations into the phone, part of a group call with 40 other foundation students, all of them speaking their commitments to growth while their families slept. The evening accountability sessions happened at 9 p.m. Sarah would excuse herself from dinner, when she and Marcus bothered having dinner together anymore, to call in and report her day. What breakthroughs she'd had. What resistance she'd encountered. Who in her life was supporting her evolution and who was holding her back. Marcus's name came up often in the holding back category. Your husband doesn't understand this work, Cross said during one call, his voice patient and knowing. That's not his fault. He's unconscious. Most people are. But you can't let his fear stop your healing. Sarah had missed 3 client appointments that week. When her assistant called to ask if she was okay, Sarah had snapped at her. The clients didn't understand either. None of them were doing the deep work she was doing. Marcus noticed. You paid $2,000 for what, exactly? Phone calls at 6 in the morning. Sarah, this is getting concerning. You wouldn't understand, she'd said, and the look on his face, hurt, confused, reaching for her, had made her angry instead of sad. He was proving Daniel right. Marcus was threatened by her growth. She started sleeping in the spare room. It was easier than explaining why she needed to be up for the 6 a.m. call, why she couldn't miss the 9 p.m. session, why his questions felt like attacks. 6 weeks into Foundations, Cross approached her after a weekend intensive. Sarah, I see something special in you. Leadership potential. We're offering an advanced training, $10,000, but it's where you'll learn to guide others the way I've guided you. $10,000. Sarah's retirement account had $18,000 in it. She withdrew $12,000 the next day and paid the enrollment fee. When she told her friend Jennifer, the one who'd originally recommended the seminar, Jennifer had been enthusiastic. Come to a session with me, Sarah urged. You'll see what I mean about the breakthrough work. Jennifer came to one evening session. She lasted 40 minutes before pulling Sarah aside. Sarah, this is a cult. That man is manipulating you. You've given him how much money? The words hit like a slap. Sarah felt her face flush with defensive heat. You're threatened by my growth. Daniel said this would happen, that people who aren't ready for consciousness would try to pull me back. Sarah, listen to yourself. You're quoting him. You sound brainwashed. Get out, Sarah said quietly. I don't need this kind of toxicity in my life. Jennifer left. Sarah blocked her number that night. 2 days later, Cross made the announcement during leadership training. I'm promoting 5 of you to junior facilitator status. Sarah Mitchell, you've shown exceptional dedication. He handed her a silver badge with her name engraved on it. The other facilitators applauded. Sarah felt tears spring to her eyes. She was being seen, valued, chosen. Junior facilitators get reserved seating at all events, Cross continued. Front row, always. You've earned the right to be close. Sarah pinned the badge to her jacket. Front row. Always visible. Always seen. That night during the accountability call, Cross asked her directly, how does it feel to be recognized for your growth? Like love, Sarah said without thinking. Good, Cross replied. Hold on to that feeling. You're going to need it when the unconscious people in your life try to tear you down. Marcus filed for separation 3 days later. Sarah told herself she didn't care. The badge on her jacket said she was special. The front row seat said she mattered. And Daniel Cross's voice in her ear every morning and every night said she was finally healing. She didn't notice the walls closing around her. She thought they were doors opening. The separation papers arrived by courier on a Wednesday afternoon. Marcus hadn't even delivered them himself, just had a lawyer send them to her office, where her assistant handed them over with eyes full of pity that made Sarah want to scream. I can't watch you destroy yourself anymore, Marcus had written in the attached letter. I love you. But I can't save you from this. Sarah brought the papers to that evening's accountability session. Cross's response was immediate and certain. He's choosing fear over your evolution. That's his loss, Sarah. Not yours. Her therapy practice was hemorrhaging clients. Word had spread, through Jennifer, through concerned colleagues, through clients who'd noticed Sarah's distraction and absences. By month 3, her caseload had dropped from 32 clients to 11. Then 6. Then 3. The rent on her office space was due, and Sarah couldn't pay it. "We have housing for dedicated members," Cross told her. "Ascension housing. Shared living with others doing this deep work. It's affordable, and you'll be surrounded by people who understand." Sarah moved into a 3-bedroom apartment in North Seattle with 4 other members. 2 to a bedroom, 1 person on the living room couch on rotation. Her roommates were lovely, devoted, serious about the work, awake at 5:45 for intention calls just like her. It felt like coming home. At the monthly intensive, Cross stood at the front of the ballroom and made an announcement that sent electricity through the room. "I'm offering something I've only done twice before. The ultimate breakthrough retreat. 7 days. Fully immersive. This is where transformation becomes permanent." He paused. "The investment is $50,000. Sarah's stomach dropped. She had $4,000 left in her checking account. Her retirement was gone. Her car was 8 years old but paid off, probably worth $12,000 if she sold it fast. She posted it on Craigslist that night. Her mother called 2 days later, her voice thick with tears. "Sarah, Jennifer told me what's happening. Baby, please. This man is taking everything from you. Your marriage, your practice, your money. Mom, you don't understand the work I'm doing. I understand you've given a stranger $50,000. Her mother's voice cracked. "That's not healing, that's being robbed. Please, please come home. We'll figure this out together." "I can't talk to you when you're like this," Sarah said, her thumb hovering over the end call button. "Sarah, I'm begging you." Sarah blocked the number. That evening, Cross taught about family resistance. Their fear is actually about them, not you. They're terrified of what your growth says about their own stagnation. Let them go. The people who are meant to be in your life will support your evolution. The retreat was held at a facility 3 hours north, nestled in mountains with no cell service. 30 participants. 7 days. Sarah handed over a check for $50,000, car sale plus a personal loan she'd taken out at 22% interest, and walked through doors that locked behind her. Sleep was scheduled for 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. 4 hours. Consciousness doesn't need rest the way unconsciousness does, Cross explained. The processing session started on day 2. 8 hours of group work where participants took turns in the center of the circle, reliving their trauma while others witnessed. When Sarah's turn came, Cross guided her through Emma's death minute by minute. Finding the body. Reading the note. The funeral. Every detail excavated and examined under fluorescent lights while 29 people watched. "Why did Emma die, Sarah?" Cross asked. "Because she was in pain." "Why was she in pain?" Because she felt alone." "And why did she feel alone?" His voice was relentless. "Because I didn't see her." "Say it clearly. Take responsibility." Sarah's voice broke. "I failed her." Louder. "I failed her. You killed your daughter through your unconsciousness. Say it." Sarah was on her knees now, sobbing so hard she couldn't breathe. Around the circle, others were crying too, witnessing, holding space, some of them nodding because they'd said the same words about their own children. "I killed my daughter," Sarah whispered. "Through my unconsciousness. I killed her." Cross knelt beside her, pulled her into his arms. "Good. That's the breakthrough. That's the truth that will set you free." Sarah collapsed against him, broken open, certain she'd finally touched the bottom of her grief. She didn't realize she'd just been shattered. And Cross was the one holding all the pieces. Sarah returned from the retreat weighing 8 pounds less and sleeping 3 hours a night even when she was allowed more. Her roommates said she looked lighter, transformed, broken open in the most beautiful way. In the bathroom mirror, Sarah saw a stranger with hollow eyes and a smile that didn't reach them. 2 weeks later, Cross called her into a private meeting. "You've done extraordinary work, Sarah. I want to bring you deeper into the mission. We need people like you, people who've experienced real breakthrough, to help identify others who are ready." He handed her a laminated card with bullet points. Signs of readiness: recent loss, professional background, financial stability, visible grief markers, front row positioning. You'll attend next month's seminar. Watch the crowd. Note who shows the signs. After, you'll approach them, share your story, offer them the same gift you received. Sarah took the card. It felt like an honor. Like being trusted with sacred work. The seminar was at a different hotel but the same format. Sarah sat in the third row this time, her junior facilitator badge visible, scanning faces the way Cross had taught her. Looking for trembling hands. Wedding rings twisted nervously. The micro flinches when certain words were spoken. Then she saw her. Front row, seat A5. A woman in her mid-30s, Asian, professional clothing slightly rumpled. Sarah's breath caught, she recognized her from somewhere. A conference? A training? Cross began his opening story. "My daughter Lily was 17 when I lost her." Sarah had heard this story dozens of times now. She knew every pause, every tear, every word. But something about watching him tell it while looking at this specific woman made Sarah's skin prickle. The woman was nodding, crying, her hand over her mouth. After the seminar, Sarah approached her in the lobby. Up close, recognition clicked, she'd seen this woman's photo in a grief counselor quarterly newsletter. Lisa Chen. Portland-based therapist specializing in adolescent mental health. "Hi," Sarah said gently. "I'm Sarah. I saw you in there, and I lost my daughter too." Lisa's eyes filled. "I'm so sorry." "When?" "6 months ago." "You?" "16 months." Lisa's voice cracked. "She was 17. Suicide." Sarah's heart constricted with familiar pain. "Mine too. 17. They stood in silence for a moment, sharing the weight only other bereaved parents understood. "What was his daughter's name?" Lisa asked suddenly. "Daniel's daughter?" "Lily," Sarah said. "Why?" Lisa's face went strange. That's what he said to me too." "Lily." Something cold moved through Sarah's chest. "What do you mean, said to you too?" "I met with him last year. After I saw him speak in Portland. He told me about Lily. How she died at 17. The suicide note. 3 pages. Sarah's breath stopped. 3 pages. Single-spaced. The last line about not being enough. The lobby tilted. Sarah gripped Lisa's arm. "He told me the same story. About his daughter Lily. 3 pages. Not being enough. He told me it was exactly like my daughter Emma." Lisa's eyes widened. "He told me it was exactly like my daughter Maya." They stared at each other. Around them, seminar attendees filed past, clutching brochures and tissues, transformed and seeking, none of them noticing 2 women standing frozen as their entire reality fractured. "When did your daughter die?" Sarah whispered. 16 months ago. March. Mine died 6 months ago. September. What was his daughter's name? Lisa asked again, her voice shaking. He told me Lily. He told me Lily too. Sarah's mind was breaking apart and reassembling into a shape she didn't want to recognize. 2 daughters. Both named Lily. Both 17. Both 3-page notes. Both exactly matching the real daughters of 2 different grief counselors in 2 different cities. That's impossible, Lisa said. But Sarah was already pulling out her phone, hands trembling, searching Daniel Cross's real history, the biography she'd never thought to verify because his pain had seemed so genuine, his understanding so complete. She found the obituary in 30 seconds. Amanda Cross. Died 2015. Suicide. Age 16. Not Lily. Amanda. And she died 9 years ago, not recently enough to explain the raw grief Cross performed on stage. Sarah looked up at Lisa, and in her eyes she saw the same terrible understanding forming. He lied, Sarah whispered. To both of us, Lisa finished. And somewhere in that hotel ballroom, Daniel Cross was already scanning the front row of his next session, looking for the next grieving parent, preparing to tell them about a daughter who never existed, manufacturing connection from their publicly posted pain. Hunting. Always hunting. Sarah didn't sleep that night. She sat on the couch in Ascension housing while her roommate slept, laptop screen casting blue light across her face, and searched. Amanda Cross. Died March 15, 2015. Age 16. Survived by Father Daniel Cross and Mother Jennifer Cross. Memorial donations to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Not Lily. Amanda. And she'd been dead for 9 years. Sarah's hands shook as she typed, Daniel Cross Lily daughter. The results made her stomach turn. A grief forum from 2019, Sacramento, Daniel told me about his daughter Lily, 17, died by overdose. 3-page note. Same as my son. A Reddit post from 2021, Denver, met this speaker Daniel Cross. Lost his daughter Lily at 17. Described my daughter's death exactly. A news article from 2023, Phoenix, buried on page 3 of search results, local therapist reports losing $75,000 to motivational seminar. Claims leader fabricated story matching her deceased daughter. 5 different Lily stories. 5 different cities. All targeting bereaved parents. All describing deaths that matched the victims' real children exactly. Sarah clicked on the Phoenix article. The therapist's name had been redacted, but the details were there. Licensed counselor, daughter died by suicide at 17, met Cross at a seminar where he told her about Lily. 6 months later, she'd given him $75,000. Sarah searched deeper. Cross's pattern became clear. He targeted grief counselors, therapists, social workers specifically. People with professional training in mental health. People with established practices and financial stability. People whose public breakdowns would discredit the very field they represented. She found her own Facebook profile through his eyes. The memorial page for Emma she'd created in her grief, made public so friends and family could share memories. The photos of Emma's note that her sister had posted, then quickly deleted, but not before someone could screenshot it. The obituary in the Seattle Times with every detail of Emma's death. Her professional website listing her credentials, her specialty in grief counseling. He'd researched her. Studied her. Manufactured every impossible coincidence. The story about Lily wasn't divine intervention. It was targeted manipulation. Sarah's search led her to divorce records. Jennifer Cross had filed in 2016, 1 year after Amanda's death. The petition cited irreconcilable differences, but Sarah found a sealed deposition transcript that had been leaked to a legal database. Jennifer's testimony, he blamed himself for Amanda's death. Said he'd been a terrible father, working too much, missing the signs. After she died, he became obsessed with other parents who'd lost children. Said they were all failures like him. Said someone needed to make them pay. Sarah sat back, her breath coming in short gasps. This wasn't about healing. This wasn't about helping bereaved parents find peace. This was revenge. Daniel Cross blamed himself for his daughter's suicide. And rather than process that guilt, he'd built an elaborate machine to punish other parents he deemed failures. To destroy their lives systematically. To make them confess on their knees that they'd killed their children through unconsciousness. To make them suffer the way he suffered. Sarah was victim number 127. She found a spreadsheet, leaked by a former senior facilitator who'd left the organization, listing recruitment numbers across 8 cities over 4 years. 127 individuals. Total revenue extracted, $8.2 million. Average loss per victim, $64,566. Sarah had given him $62,000 so far. She was exactly on target. Her career, destroyed. Her marriage, over. Her savings, gone. Her relationship with her mother, severed. Her sense of reality, shattered. All according to plan. All because 9 years ago, a 16-year-old girl named Amanda had died, and her father had decided that every other bereaved parent should be destroyed as penance for the guilt he couldn't bear. Sarah closed her laptop as dawn light crept through the windows. She wasn't being healed. She was being systematically dismantled by a man who'd weaponized her grief. And she'd paid him $62,000 for the privilege. Sarah requested a private meeting with Cross through the senior facilitator portal. Breakthrough moment I need to process, she wrote. Can't discuss in group. He met her in his office at the downtown Ascension Center, all warm lighting and leather furniture and motivational quotes on the walls. He smiled when she entered, that practiced expression of compassionate authority. Sarah. You seem troubled. What's happening? She placed her laptop on his desk, turned it to face him. Amanda's obituary. The leaked spreadsheet. The 5 different Lily stories from 5 different cities. Cross looked at the screen. Then he looked at her. The smile didn't even flicker. So you figured it out, he said calmly. They all do eventually. Some faster than others. You're victim number 127, if you're curious. Sarah's breath caught at his casual admission. Where else can you go, Sarah? Cross leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. Your marriage is over. Marcus filed for separation. Your therapy practice is destroyed, you have what, 3 clients left. Your mother won't speak to you. Your savings are gone. You've alienated everyone who ever loved you. His voice was still gentle. That was the worst part. The cruelty delivered in the same compassionate tone he'd used to describe fake Lily's death. I watched my daughter Amanda die because I was a shit father, Cross continued. I worked 80-hour weeks. I missed every sign. And now I make sure other shit parents suffer the way I do. You think you deserve healing after letting Emma die? You don't. None of you do. Sarah forced herself to stay still, to not react. You're right, she said quietly. Cross tilted his head, studying her. I don't deserve healing, Sarah continued, the words tasting like poison. I failed Emma. You showed me that. But maybe I can help you. Help you identify others who need to face what they've done. Something shifted in Cross's expression. Interest. Satisfaction. You want to help me target them? I'm a grief counselor. I know how to spot the vulnerable. And I have access to professional networks you don't. Sarah kept her voice steady. Let me help you find the ones who deserve this. Cross smiled. A real smile this time. Your brokenness is complete. Welcome to the inner circle, Sarah. The next seminar was in 2 weeks. Sarah sat front row, her junior facilitator badge pinned to her jacket, and watched Cross work with new understanding. She saw him scan the crowd during opening remarks. Saw his eyes lock onto a woman 3 seats down, young, professional, trembling hands clutching a photo. During the first break, Sarah approached the woman. Hi. I'm Sarah. I saw you holding that photo. My son. The woman's voice cracked. He drowned 6 months ago. He was 4. Sarah pulled out her phone, showed her the screenshots she'd compiled. 5 different cities. 5 different Lily stories. The spreadsheet. Amanda's real obituary. That man is going to tell you he lost a son to drowning, Sarah said urgently. He's going to describe your son's death exactly. Every detail. And it will feel like fate. But it's not. He researched you. He's done this to 127 people before you. The woman's face went white. Then suspicious. Who are you? Why are you telling me this? Because I'm victim 127. And I can prove it. The woman called security. Cross appeared, smooth and concerned. Sarah, I think you need to leave. You're clearly having an episode. No. Sarah stood, walked to the microphone at the front of the room. 200 faces turned toward her. Cross moved to intercept, but Sarah spoke first, her voice amplified through the ballroom. How many of you lost daughters? She called out. And how many were told Daniel's daughter was named Lily? A pause. Then hands started rising. 1. 3. 5. 8. 12 hands in the air across the ballroom, faces confused, beginning to understand. How many of you lost sons? Sarah continued. And heard about Daniel's son? 6 more hands. Cross's lawyer stood. This seminar is over. Everyone needs to leave immediately. But Sarah was already holding up her phone, screen visible. I've recorded this entire conversation. And I've already sent it to the FBI. The room fractured. People standing, shouting, demanding answers. Cross trying to restore order, his carefully constructed authority crumbling. Sarah kept filming as security escorted her out. She'd been the prey. Now she was the witness. And she had receipts. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Sarah testified on day 12, sitting in a witness box while Cross's defense attorney tried to paint her as a willing participant, a woman who'd made poor financial choices and was now seeking someone to blame. You attended voluntarily, correct? Yes. You paid for courses of your own free will. After being systematically manipulated, yes. The prosecutor presented the evidence, 127 victims across 8 cities. $8.2 million extracted. The leaked spreadsheet. The 5 different Lily stories. The Facebook research. The pattern of targeting mental health professionals specifically. Daniel Cross was convicted on 14 counts of fraud and racketeering. 15 years, eligible for parole after 10. Sarah recovered $60,000 through the civil settlement. $140,000 of her life savings was simply gone, consumed by the machine she'd fed with her grief. Marcus came to the trial every day. Sat in the gallery. Waited for her afterward. They started couples therapy that spring, real therapy, with a licensed professional who didn't promise breakthrough, just slow, honest work. Sarah returned to grief counseling a year later, but her focus had shifted. She specialized in cult recovery now, helping people rebuild after high-control groups. She understood the shame, the disorientation, the question that haunted every survivor: how did I not see it? She ran a support group for Ascension survivors. 23 of them met monthly in a church basement, drinking bad coffee and sharing the specific trauma of having their grief weaponized. Some marriages had survived. Some hadn't. All of them were rebuilding. Sarah wrote a book. Front Row: How Grief Made Me a Target. It sold modestly but reached the people who needed it, those vulnerable, searching, desperate to be seen. 3 years later, the email arrived. Subject: Forward, Rising Above Loss Seminar Series. Sarah's hand trembled as she clicked it open. A former victim had forwarded the promotional material. Daniel Cross, recently released for good behavior, was launching a new speaking series. Different name. Same model. Rising above loss. Find meaning in tragedy. Front row tickets, $500. Sarah stared at the website. Same polished design. Same testimonials. Same promise of transformation. She called FBI agent Morrison, who'd handled the original case. He's doing it again, she said. We're monitoring him. But he's smart. Everything's technically legal so far. I want to go, Sarah said. To his first event. Wired. Front row. Let him choose me again. A pause. Sarah, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Because I know what to look for now. And I can stop him before he gets his hooks in. The seminar was at a boutique hotel in Bellevue. Sarah paid $500 for seat A3, front row center. The same seat she'd chosen 3 years ago when she'd been broken and desperate and searching. She wore the wire under her blouse. Marcus squeezed her hand before she went in. You sure about this? I'm sure. Sarah took her seat. Around her, 200 people settled in, the same mix of exhausted, grieving, hopeful faces she remembered being. She saw Cross enter stage left, saw him scan the front row. His eyes landed on her and stopped. Micro-expression, fear, quickly masked. Sarah smiled. Touched her wedding ring. Let her eyes glisten as if fighting tears. Gave him everything he'd taught her to look for. Cross's opening story began. I lost my daughter Lily when she was 17. Same words. Same manufactured tears. Same predatory selection happening in real time as he noted which attendees reacted to which details. Sarah's wire captured every word. 40 minutes into the presentation, Sarah stood. I see you too, Daniel, she said clearly. Cross stopped mid-sentence. Confusion crossed his face. Then recognition. I see you choosing your victims. Scanning the front row. Looking for the trembling hands, the grief jewelry, the professional credentials. I see you because I've been exactly where these people are. And I'm here to tell them, this man is a predator. Security moved toward her, but the FBI moved faster. Agent Morrison and 3 others entered through the back doors. Daniel Cross, you're under arrest for violating the terms of your parole. The ballroom erupted. Cross was removed in handcuffs. Sarah stood at the microphone and waited for quiet. If you're here because you lost someone, she said to the stunned audience, I understand. I lost my daughter Emma 3 years ago. I sat in a front row just like this, and I believed a man who told me he understood. He didn't. He studied my Facebook. He researched my pain. And he used it to destroy my life. She held up the wire. But he can't do that to you. Because you're leaving tonight. You're going home. And tomorrow, you're going to grieve the real way, slowly, with people who actually love you, without shortcuts or breakthrough or $50,000 retreats. Sarah found 12 people afterward. 12 who'd been sitting front row, who'd been selected by Cross's scanning, who would have been the next victims. She gave them her card. Her book. Her support group information. You're not broken, she told each one. You're grieving. And there's a difference. Outside the venue, Marcus was waiting. Did you get what you needed? Sarah thought about it. About the 12 people going home tonight instead of losing 6 months or a year or their entire lives to a man who weaponized empathy. I got what they needed, she said. That's enough. In her bag, she still had the front row ticket. Seat A3. She'd keep it as evidence, as reminder, as proof. Sarah Mitchell would never sit front row again. But she'd never stop watching for the people who do, the vulnerable, the desperate, the grieving souls who just wanted someone to see them. Because now she knew, the predators know what broken looks like. And so do the protectors.